This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Well, good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Monday, March 13th, 2023. We're so glad you can join us today. As you can see, we're finally back in Des Moines. Had a great trip down to Orlando for Commodity Classic. Stay tuned for that coverage to come out soon from all three of us here at the radio network. As for today's episode of Ag Matters PM, I talk with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Glisan. Obviously, we had some pretty big snow over the weekend, so it'll be good to catch up on that and see how the weather is going so far in the state. We'll also take a look at that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
We're at the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace. Finally back in Des Moines to do some analysis today. And of course, we're talking with Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Robin, what do we see going on first off in the grain markets today?
Well, the big news, that has a lot of the whole commodity markets and financial markets in uproar, obviously, was the bank, Silicon Valley Bank. And then another one over the weekend that regulators stepped into. They were more heavily into cryptocurrency, but I don't know if it really had as much of an impact on the commodities as maybe many people thought. It certainly didn't on the stock market and all, but dollar was down. But when we took a look at the grain markets, we saw wheat higher for the day, not as high as it was at one point, but it did close higher. Corn and soybeans were lower. Soybeans seeing most of the selling pressure. Meal being down, but again, not as much as we saw in the soybeans. Now, the wheat strength probably was more of a bounce from an oversold condition. I mean, that's gone down quite a bit lately. Probably more of a bounce there. Maybe there was a little bit that came from the ongoing talks about the Black Sea corridor. Now, Russia hasn't been part of that yet. The discussions there, I think they're going to do it. It's going to be renewed, but we always like the dramatization over that stuff. And maybe that had somewhat of an influence in the marketplace, but probably the trade more focused on maybe some of the export inspections today, looking at, Argentina production, Brazilian production, but we'll look at the export inspections first. Corn was 39.3 million bushels. It was up 2.6 million from last week. Beans, 22.7 million, up 2.5 million bushels from last week. And then wheat was 9.1 million. That was down 3.4 million bushels from last week. So when you look at just those numbers, you would think wheat would have been lower and corn and beans higher, but that wasn't the case. That's why that's part of what was going on today. Argentina production is the ongoing talk on there is it's going to be offset by Brazilian production. So it kind of keeps the market, in essence, somewhat neutral there. It's getting to be kind of tedious old news. So the market, I think, is looking past a lot of that. Now, Russia, they indicated in 2022, they harvested 37% more wheat than they did in 2021. Stands to reason based on some of the weather they had in 2021. But they have a lot of wheat that's coming to the market at a cheaper price. And that's, again, looking at that, it should have been a little detrimental to the market. So I think a lot of the trade today was wheat, again, was technical trade, oversold condition. Beans, maybe just the uncertainty of how this all is going to play out in the commodity complex with the bank situation, and just some position squaring, maybe some profit taking. Basically, that's what ran the market, I think, the most today.
All right, Robin. And then what are we seeing on the other side of the markets in the livestock complex?
Well, livestock complex came under pressure today. Obviously the when we're taking a look back at last week, livestock was under pressure 4 of the 5 days last week. Then we came out with cash at steady last week, which kind of was a disappointment to traders. And so cash being steady after numerous weeks of increases, strong increases. There's some anticipation that packers will have to bid up this week again, but I'm not so sure about that. Once they see some of the steady prices and they can do business, and we don't know how much they carried over for deferred delivery yet coming into next week or the week after. We'll find that out tomorrow. But we saw some pressure again on the livestock today, pressure on feeder cattle. Even though corn price was down, that kind of puts a little bit of a negative tone to that market when we're seeing a decrease in feeder cattle along with weakness in corn. That market may have found a temporary top. We saw boxed beef last week down overall for the week. Now at the midday commentary today, boxed beef was down 33 cents for select, and for choice, and down $1.45 for select. So we might be seeing a little bit more of that trend that's developing here, that's putting more caution into the cattle market. Now, there's no indication yet so far today of new show lists that are out there for the cattle that are being offered for sale this week. Now, in hogs, well, a little different story. I think we're seeing a little bit of a retracement, or most of the daily retracement off of the strength that we saw last Friday. Last Friday was not supported by cash or cutouts. Now at the noonday today, midday cutouts were up $4.77. That was really strong, but the cash at midday was down $2.85. So once that settles out today, we'll get a little better idea. But we overcame some of the pressure in the hogs as the day progressed. Some of the later contracts actually moved to unchanged or a little bit higher coming into the end of the day. So when we look at the April contract, that is more and more solidifying a head and shoulders technical bottom in that, which could generate a little more buying interest from the technical traders as that develops. They've been looking for something other than cash and cutouts. The technical will have to supersede the cash and cutouts in order to see this market going higher in the near term.
Lots of great information today, Robin. For those of our listeners and our viewers who like to get in touch and learn more from the folks at agmarket.net, how can they do that?
Well, they can call me directly at 877-256-3253, or go to our website, and on our website, agmarket.net, there'll be a phone number on there. You can call in. Somebody will pick up the phone and be happy to talk with you.
Great talking with you as always, Robin, and we look forward to catching up again soon.
Always a pleasure to be on with you, and take care.
That again was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. We'll go ahead and take a look at how those numbers close. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. March corn is down 3 3/4 at 613 1/2. December new crop down 1/2 cent at 557 1/4. May soybeans down 15 3/4 at 1491 1/4. November new crop down 18 1/4 at 1339 1/4. May soybean meal down 660 at 479.30. Soybean oil down 75 at 55.86. Chicago wheat up 5 1/4 at 684 1/2. Minneapolis spring wheat up 8 even at 832 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat up 2 1/4 at 800 1/2. May oats up 1 1/4 at 348 even. On the Merc, April live cattle down 72 at 163.55. May feeders down 117 at 202.40. April lean hogs down 122 at 86.22. April pork cutout down 120 at 93.10. Class 3 milk for March up 8 cents at 17.79. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Well, today I had the chance to catch up with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan. Obviously, we had a good amount to talk about with the snow event that we saw over the weekend. I can say in Ankeny, I was surprised we got around 7 inches of snow, but it's not too surprising considering that we had those big fat snowflakes and then it snowed for about 5 hours. So not too surprising there. Always still good for the drought monitor because as we've said many times, we'll take what moisture we can get. So here's Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan. We're back again this week with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan to talk about the drought monitor and some of the other weather happenings in Iowa. First off, Justin, what's an update on that drought monitor status?
Hi, Riley. So yes, last week we saw a little bit of improvement along the periphery in eastern Iowa of that D0 abnormally dry category. So we saw some removal of that D0 given the wetter conditions that we've seen over the recent term. But overall, the map was status quo after pretty significant improvements over the last 3 weeks.
And then we'll just kind of go right into it. The big thing people are wondering about over the weekend was we got quite a bit of snow and a bit more than expected. How did that storm kind of come through? What was causing that? And then obviously with the drought conditions, we like to see any precipitation come down still, right?
Absolutely. It's very, very heavy wet snow over the weekend. A lot of moisture availability in the atmosphere. The temperatures were in the low to mid 30s, so above freezing temperatures. You also get a lot of water vapor in the atmosphere that clings to those larger snowflakes and it acts like glue. So the snowflakes were actually sticking together as they fell, but definitely several hours of pretty heavy snow, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches across the central part of Iowa. Good moisture out of that snowpack. I had 6 inches in my rain gauge melted to about 0.6 of an inch. So good moisture out of this snowpack. And we like to see this heavier snow because it does have a higher moisture content and hence more moisture availability for the soil.
Yeah, it basically came down, like a rain when it was over that Saturday period. And then, kind of looking ahead just a little bit, we see that Wednesday is already warming up quite a bit, Wednesday, Thursday, enough to where we could see that snow melt. Do we think it could kind of get into the system pretty quickly?
Yes, and we even had, as the snow was falling, some melting of that initial snowpack because the temperatures were above freezing. But once you get those higher intensity snowfall rates and the snow starts to stack up, you basically insulate the surface and you don't get a lot of melting. But with temperatures in the 40s and 50s this week and additional rainfall on Thursday, we'll start to see some infiltration of that snowpack.
And then it looks like just into the future that these temperatures are going to kind of keep modulating for a while because, like I said, in the middle of the week, get warmer again. Then after that, we're getting colder again. Are we going to kind of maybe, rubber band around to a more normal level eventually? Or what are we expecting for kind of the rest of this month?
Yeah, so we're in a transition month. So we always see the roller coaster of temperatures and precipitation events. If we look at the short-term outlooks, had us trending cooler than average last week. Again, we're kind of moderating those the outlooks that we're seeing. So we'll definitely see above average temperatures and below average temperatures as we go through the month. It's just the nature of the beast and the nature of March being a transition month.
And then, of course, it's only been a week since we last talked about it, but how is that transition from the La Nina weather pattern to ENSO neutral going at this point?
Yep, so we're officially in ENSO neutral conditions. This was announced last week. Sea surface temperature anomalies have disappeared, so the oceanic behavior is near normal where it should be. It'll take a few weeks for the atmosphere to decouple from the oceanic behavior, but yes, we're officially ending the 3 years of La Nina that we've been in.
All right, and then at this point, is there anything else weather-wise that our viewers and listeners should know about? I know that you always want them to reach out for those drought conditions because you're kind of developing a report on that, right?
Yes, so I submit the Iowa recommendations each week. So having those on-ground observations help us do a better job with matching up conditions, what we're seeing in the modeling, radar indicator, remote sensed indicated moisture. All those tools come together, but to have a ground truthing of those helps us produce a better map for our farmers and stakeholders. So again, get in those observations if you need to.
All right, Justin. And then for those of our listeners who would like to get in touch and learn more, how can they do that?
Google Iowa Climatology Bureau. It'll bring you to our department's website with all kinds of maps and reports and all the climatological things that you're interested in. My contact information is there, but my email is justin.glisan@iowaagriculture.gov. And my direct line is 515-281-8981.
All right, thanks for the conversation again, as always, Justin, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thanks, Riley.
That again was Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan. And speaking of the weather, let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, there's quite a bit of snow on the ground again, but with the way the weather is looking, it doesn't seem like that snow will stick around for too long. Today we're looking at those colder conditions again, and we could see some flurries in parts of the state. But then tomorrow and kind of into the week, we're warming back up again to those somewhat spring-like temperatures. I know tomorrow we're looking at potentially around the 40-degree range, so already feeling a bit nicer. So let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, that cold weather will be giving way just a little bit. Today we have variably cloudy skies and a chance for flurries with highs ranging from the mid-20s to lower 30s. Tonight it'll be partly to mostly cloudy with a chance for flurries in the east, lows ranging from the low to upper teens. And tomorrow it'll be sunny and windy across most of the state, highs ranging from the low 30s to mid 40s. And taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will be mostly sunny with a chance for flurries and a high around 38. Shenandoah sunny and 46. Des Moines sunny and windy, a high of 37. Waterloo sunny and 34. Albia sunny and 41. Clinton sunny and breezy as well with a high of 38. For more detailed forecasts in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you can find our video content as well as previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free Twice Daily Market podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.